My name is Bri Sargent, and I have been a safety professional for nearly 20 years, another 6 years where it was part of my job. And I have trained over 100 safety managers, and it is my passion to talk about management commitment, safety culture, the psychology of safety, and all of that good stuff. Today, we're talking about the importance of safety culture. So I love talking safety culture. This is going to be so much fun. So I want to tell you a story, kind of like a tale of two locations. So it was the same exact business, but the business had two locations. They were run by the same exact management team. So they were sitting right next to each other, but one was in one building, one was in another. And they had the same management team, obviously different frontline supervisors because they were in separate buildings, and they made the same product, right? But because they were separate buildings, the two locations had two totally different safety cultures. So one of the things that this taught us is that safety culture is actually developed by the employees more so than the management, right? So we always say we want to get the management team on board and we want to have management support, and you can't have safety culture without management support. That's totally true. But you also have to understand that culture is defined by the people who are within that facility, the people that are working there every single day. So you do also have to focus on the employees. So it's kind of interesting that little experiment, and it was the article that I read about it, it was just a happenstance where they were just kind of looking at the culture of the two places. And the management team understood how things were different in each location. And it also reminds me, when I was in SGE, I did a VPP evaluation at this facility that had 7 different buildings, and every building had a different culture, even though they ran their safety program exactly the same. But when you talk to the employees at the different buildings, you can feel the difference. It was really, really interesting. So keep that in mind when you're building your safety culture, that the employees at that facility really make the culture. And I've also seen where when you have bad employees, it ends up spreading like a virus as well. So all of that kind of defines your culture. So safety culture, the way that I like to define safety culture is it's the way we do things, right? It's how things are done within our facility. It's how things are done, the good, the bad, you can have an apathetic one. It's just the way that we do business, right? So if you think about it, if there's debris on the ground and your team automatically stops what they're doing and they pick it up, that's your culture. It's your safety culture that is creating their desire to have a clean workplace and pick it up. If your team instead walks right by the debris, right? So let's say there's a piece of a pallet on the ground or something like that, and they just walk on by it and they leave it for the janitorial staff to come pick it up. That's your culture. So it's the way you do business there. So you can have a good one, you can have a bad one. The key term is that it's what the people systematically do within your facility. So you can't just look at what one person does. It's generally how everybody within your facility acts, right? So I've seen a facility where they had a big hoarding problem, and every single area there was debris kind of just hoarded around and nobody ever threw anything out type of thing. That was the culture of their facility. Needless to say, it wasn't a good one. All right. So why is having a good safety culture important? Why is it something that we work towards, right? And it's kind of like this buzzword that everybody says out there. So when you have a good safety culture, what happens is that safety becomes a core value, and safety becomes how we do business. And when safety is how you do business, you actually end up being more profitable and delivering a better product and having better quality. All right. So employees in a good safety culture, they actually look out for each other, right? They make suggestions for improvement. They're talking to the management team. They're talking not just about safety, but they're talking about how we can improve operations. They're talking about how we can improve quality. When you have a good safety culture, people take pride in their work. Because of that, you'll see less turnover. And you'll have a higher morale. And when people like where they work and they're taking pride in their work, your environment ends up being cleaner and it ends up being safer. So yes, you do get a reduction in injuries as well, but you also see less product damage, less returns, better quality. And it's all a result of everybody having pride in what they're doing. In the end, the company actually ends up having higher profits. So that's what I get a kick out of when I go into facilities and they're like, oh, we have so much going on right now. We have this big order coming in, or, we're doing some construction and I can't work on culture right now. I just don't have time for it. We got too much going on. I just call BS on that, because you actually can't afford not to, because when you actually work on culture, your company makes more money. So what you're saying is that I don't have time to work on safety because I don't want to make more money. That's all. I just don't want to make more money right now. I don't want to worry about that. And that just makes no sense. Remember that safety culture is different than management support. So that management team that's saying, hey, we don't want to work on culture right now, it just means that they're just not supporting safety, right? So it's their support that is going to help you get the safety culture. So you you can say that you can't get safety culture without management support, but you can. It's just a lot harder because you kind of need the resources of the management team in order to really get the employees to understand why safety is important to them, and taking the time to involve employees and doing all of that is what will make sure that you have a good safety culture. If your management team is not supporting safety, that doesn't mean that you can't work on culture. It just means that then you're working on culture from the bottom up, right? So what'll happen is you're starting to work with employees who actually want to embrace change. They want to be involved in the safety program, but then they might not have the management team that will allow them the time to do so. So you just have to get creative to get them involved. But once they see that their suggestions for safety are being recognized, you'll start seeing improvements in your safety program that you can then take to the management team and say, hey, I need more resources to help build safety culture. Maybe do some trainings on safety culture, maybe have the management team take some time out to talk about safety and all of those things. So what'll happen is that you start working on the employees to show the management team that this is a valid thing to be spending time on, and then you'll spend time on it and you'll meet in the middle and you'll build an amazing culture. It's not the ideal way to do it, but I feel like a lot of programs fight with this management support, and that the management team says they support safety, but they're actually not putting any dollars or time behind it. So that's what people struggle with. So if that's what you're going through, don't just say, well, I can't work on culture. I'm just going to have to do business as usual. Instead, start working on the little things you can do, right? So maybe the employees can't take time out of their work to help build a safety initiative, but you can sit in the break room and talk to the employees about it and get their opinion on it. So that's how you can kind of build it from the bottom up. I've got lots of tips on how to build safety culture. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely stick around. It's going to be a very in-depth program of how to get management support as well as get employees involved in every aspect of safety. So it grows your program kind of from every part of it. You include management and employees. If you want to be notified when that is coming out, just make sure that you get on my mailing list. And the easiest way to pop on my mailing list is to download my free safety program self-assessment, which is a great way to see what your culture's like, because you can take the self-assessment and score every section and see where you're kind of lacking in management support or safety culture. So until next time, you guys have a safe day. Thanks. Bye.